What a pleasant good evening, good afternoon, good morning, just wherever you're watching KMTV from across the globe. This is the closing argument. We are live on KMTV. We are also live on Hot FM 107.9 in Monroeville, and we are live there in Bombay County on Hot FM 106.3. This is your fascinating and tough, most provocative show, The Closing Argument. And we want to say thanks for joining us on the closing argument. Please share the show as we urge you to invite other people to watch along with you. So let's now join the guys in the US to begin with Madam Jackie McCay, who's going to bring in the rest of the food. Good evening, Madam Jackie McCay, and welcome once again to the closing argument. You're muted.
Okay, I didn't realize I was muted. How are you doing today, Yiba? How was your weekend?
Well, it was good, and we bless God for another edition of the program, which happens to be a fascinating one tonight.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And can you go ahead and bring in the other panelists?
Yes, certainly.
Tomalin, good evening.
Evening.
You're still in Liberia, so it's good evening for you. Good afternoon,
Yes.
Keff.
It's still in Liberia.
Yes. Good afternoon, Dr. Peabody. How are you doing?
Well.
And our chairman, Ben, Honorable Ben, he is somewhere, sitting somewhere. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm at the airport right now, waiting to board my flight to go and join Tomalin. So if you're, I'm not going to be here too long, but I just wanted to come to tell you guys bye. Tomalin is laughing. I told Tomalin he's waiting for me. I have to be part of the January. I mean, what is it? What day is Friday?
April 28th.
April 28th. I have to be there. I'm going to be at the Unity Party headquarters on April 28th. So all the Unity Party people who let a hit on me, they will see me in live in flesh. I have a personal invitation from Vice President Joe Barker. I got a chance to chat with him a few hours ago, and he invited me personally to the party headquarters. So I'm going to be there, and I'll be honoring that invitation.
Oh, awesome! What about you, Tomalin? Are you going to be there on Friday?
Oh yes, I think my schedule, I should have been flying out of this country, but then based on the popular demands, I think I will have to stay back. And
no, you got to stay.
Yeah, it's historic announcement. So I'll be joining the chairman
definitely.
there. Yeah,
definitely. Well, to our many viewers who are currently listening to us in Liberia and abroad, we want to say welcome and thank you for watching and supporting the closing argument. Today we have a very, very interesting show, very fascinating. We have the one and only Rodney Sieh, who's going to be our special guest today. So we're looking forward to a beautiful show today. Very informative, a lot of things happening in Liberia, a lot of things happening over the weekend, over the past week, and a lot of things are happening this week as well. What we know, Vice President Boyka supposed to be announcing his running mate in the entire country. In fact, Liberians all over the world going to tune in on Friday to see who that running mate is going to be. The anticipation is going to come to a close on Friday, April the 28th, as everybody knows. And also, let's go over the rundown. Like I said, we have Rodney here. We're going to be talking about the unofficial biography of President Weah, the JMB VP picks, the U.S. Embassy. The ambassador released a statement. And that, oh my God, it is mind-blowing. If you haven't read the statement, go online, read it, because we will be discussing it today. He said a lot in that statement. And we'll also be talking about other national issues And of course, at the end of the closing argument, we will be closing our argument, giving our different perspectives on behalf of the Liberian people. So without much being said, Tomalin, do you want to do your intro? And then we'll go to Ben, because we know Ben got to go pretty soon.
Well, it's good to be back, and we're looking forward to an interactive show. One good thing is that the ambassador's statement, I've experienced it on firsthand. I've visited health centers in Liberia, and I've seen exactly what he's saying also what he's saying is completely true. All what he's indicated in that report is the fact. And instead of what's happening in Buchanan, the cabinet retreat, I think it's a waste of time, waste of resources. I think the cabinet should return to Monrovia and do the people's work instead of wasting time, because with 169 days remaining for elections, how much they can do? There will be no major investment, major decision taking place. The budget have been passed. The legislature returning on May 8th. They won't ratify any major agreement. I think it's about time that they return to Monrovia, and the president look forward to asking for the resignation of the Minister of Health, Internal Affairs, especially as they were mentioned in a report. I think the Liberian people don't have confidence in them. I think the president should also don't have confidence in them. But going forward, we're talking about Rodney's book today and other national issues. It will be an interesting show. We'll see what can happen in the next few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Tomalin. Ben?
Yeah, I have about 5 minutes more. So let me say, and first of all, looking forward to. I will try my best to follow from on the flight. I think they have Wi-Fi, so I'll try to follow from on the flight. Let me say, I am. I have a bunch of different twists, right? Because some of the first of all, McCarthy is my guy. I love Ambassador McCarthy. I mean, I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's one of those. I think he's one of those diplomats who will not just mince his words, right? There are people who think that sometimes he goes a little far. There are people who think that sometimes he overreach. But I always say this: he who pays the piper plays the tune, right? Until we can get to a point where we don't depend on the United States government for every single little thing, we must live with the fact that the United States ambassador accredited near Monrovia has a say in our politics, because at the end of the day, it is their taxpayer money that is being used. But I also want to state clearly, there is a tendency of hypocrisy on both sides of the aisle, right? When it comes to the issue of the ambassador. The last time the ambassador called out, the last time the ambassador called out folks who were fanning the flame with misinformation and fake news and conspiracy theories. And we heard some of the very people today who praising Ambassador McCarthy, telling him to shut up, telling him that, he shouldn't be talking in our politics, that he shouldn't be stopping people from talking. So it is the hypocrisy that we have in our country, on both sides of the aisle, because you have people from the government who are changing their profile picture to McCarthy's profile picture, right? Now today, you listen to some of the folks who are now highlighting what McCarthy has said. We don't need Michael McCarthy to tell us about the dysfunction in our healthcare sector. We don't need him to tell us about the corruption we have in our country. We don't need him to continue to talk about these things. What we need is a reset of our mindset. What we need is to get away from our political cocoons that we find ourselves in, where we think everybody is willing to protect their own. Because guess what? Some of these problems are Asian problems, but it's gotten worse. And so I will say this, and I will end on this note. Ambassador McCarthy, I want to thank you for your service, because I know he's leaving. I know he's still there for a little bit, but I know he's the outgoing ambassador. We want to thank him for his service. But we want to call, like Tomalin said, we want to call on the government now. The government has a responsibility now to step up and to do the right things and the needed things to be able to put in place some of the things to be able to mitigate some of the situations that we have. He called out the national legislature. It is a shame that we have a national legislature that continues to pass national budgets that's not in the interest of the constituency. I know it's easy to blame the president because the budget emanates from the executive. But there's a reason why there are three equal branches of government. The national legislature is the one that is supposed to checkmate the executive. And so I think it's well-rounded. I'm looking forward to listening to your discussion on the issue with Rodney Sieh. I'm sure he's going to bring his A game. I'm sure he's going to talk about this biography, and I'm listening. I want to hear his thoughts on some of the processes and some of the things that are happening, whether it's the JMB pick and all of that. But Jackie, you know, I want to thank you and the guys for holding the fort down. Pray for travel mercies as we get get onto the skies to be joining our brother Tomalin. And like I said, we will be at the Unity Party headquarters. We got a personal invitation from the former vice president. We're looking forward to seeing him and to being there with him, with his new running mate. And you can rest assured the closing argument is going to be talking to the stakeholders when we're on the ground. We're going to be visiting the National Elections Commission. Hopefully we will visit Mr. Cummings. Hopefully we'll visit President Weah. Listen, this is the time for us to do these things. So Jackie, I just want to say, it's amazing. I'm going to be rooting for you guys. I'm going to be watching, but I'm going to have to run. And Tommy, keep the fire burning, my brother. While I lay on the ground, we got to have the ground boiling when I arrive. And Kev, it's okay. It's okay that you can fix your camera today, Kev.
Get smart, man.
Because I know you're in a hot zone today, but it's okay. Sometimes you get in a hot zone. That's what happens. Dr. Peabody, it's good to see you. And I want to say to all of our supporters and fans, thank you for your support of the closing argument. And I look forward to seeing all of you in Monrovia very soon. Thank you.
Safe travels, Ben. We look forward to seeing you on the ground. Bye-bye.
That business class, you enjoying that business class, right?
Peabody, No, you remember we can't. You remember we can't fly business class. Only certain time we can fly business class.
Find a friend like me, man. Find a friend like Ben.
You're gonna say about business class, right?
I see you, guys. I see you.
All right,
okay. Yes. Okay, Dr. Peabody, you are next. Go ahead and do your opening.
Well, it's good to see everybody. It's a Monday, and I've been looking forward to this time and sharing our views on what's happening in our country. So it's good to see everybody. Let me just begin by saying that the statement today was just as despicable, so embarrassing to our country. As a Liberian, I read it. I was driving and was trying to read it through my phone. And when I got to certain parts, I like, oh my God, this is bad, And as one who travel in the villages around Liberia, I see those things all the time. So as I was reading, they were very vivid. They were clear. I think that I see when I go to the village. I've been to a lot of places. The River Sass, the Nimba, the Bombing, the Kitman, all the places. I mean, in some real serious villages. And I see when it comes to healthcare, how people suffer. In fact, I had a friend in Liberia one time, and he said to me, the only emergency healthcare you have in this country is the grace and mercy of God. That's the emergency healthcare. So when I saw that today, I felt really bad. I said, Liberia, it's really disgraceful, and I know we're going to get into it. I'm looking forward to seeing Rodney and talking to him. I've been wanting to find a day to read a book, but then since we had to bring it on today, I've been trying to just skip through the whole thing. But I would just find a day home where I'm going to read the entire book. But I'm looking forward to seeing this man. He has done a great job. He's one of those who have gone to the land and breadth of our country and writing about the issue, informing people. When there were no Facebook and thing, it was Front Page Africa, who Liberian people relied on, especially for what happened. He brought the Ellen Johnson government to light in terms of corruption and other things. So I'm looking forward to having on. Great man, and I'm looking forward to a great show today.
Definitely. We're all looking forward to a great and wonderful show. Thank you, Dr. Peabody. Before we go further, we just want to recognize some of our our viewers who are commenting right now on the live feed. You got Theresa Fortama, Willie Collins. You have Jefferson Doe. You have Say Francis. Carmel Fofano. You have Emmanuel Harris, Samuel Charles, and actually he just posted, I think, the U.S. Embassy statement as well. Matthew Wonlow, we want to thank all the viewers. Please go ahead and click like and share the show. Okay, please click like and share the show and continue to share the show. The closing argument. Are we ready for our guest?
That's one guy here
Is he
today. I
ready
like
now,
to
or should we continue?
Jackie, and I cut you out there, but there's one guy
Is
here.
our guest ready to come on?
In a van. We'd like to recognize. I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't spoken.
The what?
I think Keff had not given his
One guy?
Keff.
Oh, insurmountable van?
Yes.
What did he say?
Yes.
Oh, he come here after
Oh,
a
Keff.
black
Oh,
man.
Keff. That's
Come
right. Keff, you're just too quiet. That's what's going on. You're just unusually quiet.
No,
Keff?
you moderators are just listening to you, though. But
Go ahead.
you know, I listen to everybody. I listen to you guys, and on Facebook, everybody talking about what the ambassador. And sometimes I just ask myself, maybe I grew up in different Liberia, but the Liberia that I grew up in, when we have drugs all over the hospital and all that, you know, people act like Liberia were brand new, and all of a sudden, George Manawea came in, everything gone. That you can talk about it. We actually need drugs. We need things for our people. Yes, but when certain people act like the 12 years everything was good, then I do have a problem with it. When the ambassador, like what Ben said, the ambassador spoke about the wickedness are coming out of some people's mouth, and lies and misleading story. They went at the ambassador. They go in and pick what they want and all that stuff. People act like Liberia. You choose to kill your president on national TV and destroy your country. Then you act like everything was brand new. You choose to destroy a country that was better than your neighboring country. Then you want to come and start acting like that George Manawea government. That sick mentality, especially from some lawmakers then who's supposed to have oversight power. Who some of them do have hospital. Who know what they're doing, but they will come and act because they feel that our people are gullible. But no, listen, guys, Liberian voters are one of the smartest voters you can find. They know George Weah is the fixer. How can you tell a 40-year-old man who going to the hospital or who went to the hospital years back and tell him that George Manawea, I'm sorry, that George Manawea fought? He's not going to listen to you. So what we're trying to say, let's talk about this issue and in a positive way and see how our people can get help. But to come on because of election time and there's and say, oh, damn, it's not good for the government, it's not good for this, it's not good for that. You can spin it because you're on the other side. But I know that you cannot tell that old man who in the village that the hospital had a lot of drugs. You can tell him. You can scare him with that. You cannot. And you choose to destroy your country. Then you want to come and talk. Come on, man.
Kev. Okay, I hope you have some response to what the U.S. ambassador said today, because his statement was heavily loaded, heavily loaded, and it did not fare too well for this government. So I hope you have a response to what the U.S. ambassador said, and don't talk about other people. Let's talk about, in that respect, what the U.S. ambassador said. Okay.
What the U.S. ambassador said. What the U.S. ambassador said is upon every Liberian. It's upon us. It's upon people who sometimes go in there and take drugs away.
Read the statement, no? Did you read the U.S. ambassador statement?
It's upon the lawmakers. It's upon everybody. We need to take care of this issue collectively. Not coming and say the government. The last 12 years, honor your government, Jackie. We had state of the art hospital. We had everything. Things were going.
But if you as government talking about this government,
let me give you one example, Kev.
Judge Manor, we have no. Listen, Jackie.
Jackie is the guest in the studio. Log in.
Producers, do we have the guest in the studio right now?
If you didn't bring him on.
I'm not hearing from our. Is he on already? Is he here? Tomalin?
Yeah, I know he's all set, but I've not heard from them in the studios.
Okay, while we're waiting for our producers, I just want to, we just ended the weekend, of course, with the Ramadan celebration. We didn't air on Friday, so we could not wish our Muslim brothers and sisters Eid Mubarak. So we just want to acknowledge the fact that over the weekend too, we had our Muslim brothers and sisters who ended the month-long Ramadan, and they had the Ramadan celebration on Friday over the weekend. So that was exciting, seeing everybody come to a close for the Ramadan season. And also one thing that's been trending on the news today, which is really heartbreaking, the situation in Sudan, where we see that the United States, the UK, and other countries are evacuating their citizens. We are, of course, fall under the AU umbrella. So what happens in one country, of course, is a concern for all of us in Africa. And we just want to wish our brothers and sisters in Sudan all the best and hope the conflict will come to an end, because Liberia is very much familiar with a 14-year conflict, which we never, ever want to see conflict in the country again. And that's why this year is so important. The election is so important. Voter registration is extremely important. And as we come close to October 10 on election day. Having said that, studio, are we ready for our guests? Rodney's here. I'm not getting any feedback. Are you?
Let the audience share the show.
I think they will bring it in as soon as he's there. So let that continue.
Okay, Kev, do you have any update on us from the retreat that's taking place today? Is a 3-day retreat. While the president is there talking to his cabinet members, the U.S. ambassador is releasing a statement.
I was taken back, because especially at a retreat. I mean, when was that retreat, put together? So, and then you having a meeting, and then bam, you get hit with this kind of statement. I think now is a perfect opportunity for the president to engage his cabinet and talk to them about corruption and other things, especially the health ministry that have been pointed out in this statement, to talk to them and something that they can work on to really change it. I mean, even though the retreat was not planned, I mean, I can say not planned, but I mean very abrupt. But I think this is a perfect opportunity for the president to engage the cabinet and talk to them about some of the things that were mentioned in that statement today. Honestly, the ambassador, I believe, is not just he went back a couple of years about what happened, in previous government we have had, because some of these places have been sitting there for years. But I think this would be a perfect opportunity for the president to engage the cabinet, and then uh, 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 the Senate, the president pro tem, the speaker, they all need to find a way of engaging each other, because this is just not good for the entire government, the government, the legislature, all of them. This is not a good news for them. When you have somebody who traveled outside your country and was detailed in putting this kind of information together, they were concerned too, because they had invested money into our healthcare system. They had invested into other areas. He talked about a new lab, the reference lab that is going to be built. Now, they're spending $40 million to build this reference lab, and Liberia to spend $2 or $3 million a year to maintain it. Would they be able to do it? I think there's an opportunity. I know that the timing came at a very conflicting time when we were in a retreat. I think there's a perfect opportunity for President we have to engage his cabinet and talk to them about some of these things that was mentioned.
So, Dr. Peabody, we got 5 to 6 months to election, right? So right now the government is pretty much a sitting duck government. What can they accomplish within the next 5 months that they haven't accomplished within the last 6 years? That's the thing. What can they accomplish? They passed a budget that did not support the Liberian people. You saw that if you look at 2018 budget, 2017 budget, you look at the compensation line for the civil servants, $295 million to pay our government employees. It is the exact same number today, but yet still you have the legislature that increased the budget, and even the ambassador talked about it. You have other sectors, the president's office, he increased his budget. You have the Ministry of Finance increasing their budget. For what? Why are they increasing their budget when they are not really investing in the Liberian people? Then you have the harmonization that should have never taken place at all, because it hurt the economy, and that's a fact. We see what happened when to trickle down economics. When people pay is cut, there's no way they can support their communities. So a lot of things have happened over the past 5 years, and what can they do now as a sitting government? What changes can they make right now?
Also a plus here said that our economy grew by what, 17 or 20?
3%. He said 3%.
Our economy grew by 3%. So it's a plus here. So with all
our
that
budget, our revenue purse also increased to what, $605 million.
Yes.
But where is that money going? That's the problem. Where is it going?
Even though that money was allocated for different sectors like healthcare, other places did not go to certain places, but the economy grew by 3%. We're all so maybe I don't know, maybe the expert can talk about it. Maybe the harmonization to help in a way that it grew. Our economy was to grow, but at a specific time we're faced with a lot of issues. We're faced with liquidation, and all of that was going on. So, but again, why allocate funds for a hospital in certain place and they don't get it? I mean, I don't know.
Exactly.
The reason folks would talk about it, harmonization, because the harmonization affected some of the Unity Party people who were receiving huge amount of pay because of they had a connection, the affiliation with certain government official, so it affected them. The harmonization saved over $30 million because of Unity Party people giving people pay based on I know you, based on affiliation, what I can we can do for you. You my family. I will give you this. Like I said, I spoke to a couple of people who left Liberia, so they cannot take that pay. They will come back because they were making more money. And then with the vision of this president saying, you know what, we cannot just walk in and kick some of these people out. But let's look at the salaries. If you're a janitor working under a Jackie and you're making $100, then you're a janitor under Tomalin because of certainty making $1,000, and the job called for $100. That's how the job supposed to. That's the pay rate. And this government said no. You got to come down and make it even.
If the harmonization works,
and it worked because it saved money. First of all,
let me ask you a question, Keff. Let me ask you a question.
The wage bill went up.
Is our guest ready, Tomalin?
Well, he's trying to log on, but let me. Okay. But you know, we need a whole show to talk about harmonization. But right now, we should be looking at a scathing indictment of the government of Liberia by the U.S. ambassador statement, especially in an election year.
This thing, you're telling me what the ambassador said today was only this government, that's 5 years?
He was very specific.
I'm asking you now, are you telling me that?
He mentioned about UP government.
I'm asking you now, the money they talk about, it's just for this
he mentioned only, but it's referring only to this government he's referring to. You're not talking about the past government.
So the amount that he put here, only this government, the amount came in.
He said the money that was allocated in the budget. It didn't reach the
asking you. So the amount, the ambassador went back. The ambassador went back.
Kev, it is. It's clear.
This is a Liberian black issue. And white. We should not just say, look, okay.
Kev.
Because basically what I'm hearing from you guys, the UP government, everything was good. Our hospitals, clinics, everything was
based on the statement.
Everything. That's what you're saying. That's a misleading story.
No confidence in her.
What is your opinion, Keff? Tomalin is saying the Minister of Health should be dismissed. You are talking in the interest of the Liberian of President Weah. Should President Weah dismiss the Minister of Health? Keff, should the President dismiss the Minister of Health?
On the first list to be rejected.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
Our chair should be rejected.
Actually, Tomalin, if you look at the budget,
you ask the question,
very poorly. Poor leadership.
Yeah, but let me say something, Kev. Kev, let me say something. If you look at the budget, the salary for the speaker and for the Senate pro tempore, how much do they make? They make more than the U.S. senators here. The speaker and the Senate pro tem are just about the same, $200,000+ per year. That's equivalent to $18,000 per month. How can you justify a salary like that? Today, the speaker was in Maryland County, had people walking behind him, but those people live in abject poverty. How can you justify that? How can you justify a harmonization? You have the transport ministry people, you have Ministry of Health people, and by the way, shout out to all the healthcare workers out there because they work very, very hard. They're not even getting the pay that they deserve, but yet still we have a healthcare system that should be working, and according to the Liberian people and even the ambassador, is not working. You have an education sector that's not working. Someone will ask you a question.
Yeah, hold on now.
Let the Minister
hold on
of
now.
Health be
Okay,
fired,
hold
along
on.
with other ministers who
Hold
are
on
not
now.
working on behalf
Okay,
or in the
hold on.
interest of the Liberian people and the
Now,
president.
hold on, Jackie. Hold on, Jackie.
Yeah, but don't interrupt me when I'm talking, Kev. I don't interrupt you when you're talking.
Jackie, you can put that. Who passed the budget?
How can you?
Who passed the budget?
What is your? How can you
Who passed
defend
the
what the
budget,
ambassador
Jackie?
said? Did you see the
Jackie,
budget?
Jackie, I'm asking who passed the
Did
budget?
you see the budget?
Jackie, you're not answering who passed
Who
the
prepared
budget.
the budget?
Who passed
The
the budget?
legislature does. Who prepared the budget?
When the executive
Did you
branch
go
prepare
through the
budget and
budget?
send it there and send the budget, it's upon the lawmaker to scrutinize it to see whether it fit. What the lawmakers are saying, including Unity Party lawmaker, including your party lawmaker, the budget is okay. They sign to it. They sign on that budget. How
And your
can you
president is
come
saying it's
and
okay too. Is
argue
it okay?
on Unity Party, the
Is the
opposition
budget
are the
okay,
largest
press?
in the who the
Kev.
largest in the opposition are the largest in
Okay.
the.
No, that's not true, Kev. Kev,
You
that's
know-
not true.
What do you mean that's not true? That's not true.
Most
The
of them have
opposition-
recourse to the ruling
The opposition
party.
get more seats.
Most of them have
They-
recourse to the
they
ruling
pass
party.
it. The
Most of them recourse to the
Unity
ruling
party
party.
there,
But-
the
but
opposition
Tony-
get more seats.
Tony, yes, it.
Opposition
I
get
think
more seats.
I
So
think
opposition, and look at the budget and they sign
I think Kev
onto that budget.
added something to that. What did the opposition do when they knew that budget was not in the interest of the Liberian people? What did they do?
That's how people
What
saw.
did they do?
Yeah, they
You know?
saw the budget. They signed onto that budget.
And
I'm
Dr.
not-
Peabody, I was on like
Now you're
Kev.
saying
On like Kev. I don't
Oh,
blindly support anybody.
Exactly.
The opposition that were in the legislature, who are in the legislature right now, they should have looked at that budget. If that budget was not in the interest of the Liberian people, they should have rejected the budget. They should have not just said, okay, I'm not going to be here today, because some legislators do that. They don't attend budget hearing because they don't want their name on the record. And it's just as bad as people supporting a bad budget. The budget is bad. We have a revenue.
Oh, wow! I think she went
What
off.
happened to Jackie?
I think she went off. Maybe.
Her phone went off.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but look. Let's toss the let's.
That's the problem.
you
That's,
know,
that's,
because-
that's the misleading, Dr. Peabody. That's why I'm bringing it up.
I don't have opposition there. They sign on everything.
You opposition, you sign the budget, you
No.
sign that, and
As
the budget
bad as
becomes
this-
law. The
as
budget
bad-
becomes law. Then you turn around and say,
You know, I saw one opposition.
why Buffer Chima? You sign it. Your people sign it.
I saw one
You
opposition.
sign it.
I
Then
saw
you
an
want to
opposition
argue
candidate
why Buffer
today
Chima gets money?
who issued a statement thanking the ambassador.
Tell me,
you was there
Tell me,
at the
you
time.
get more lawmaker friends
He
than
voted against the budget now. Peabody, he voted against the budget. So
Who
he's
voted
on record
against the
voting against
budget? Who?
So he's the
They
only
don't
one
vote
on
against the
record.
budget.
He's the
They
only one on
don't vote
record.
against the budget.
Yes.
So they don't on record vote against the budget.
He does
But
on
Tommy,
record. Yeah.
but
If that's
Tommy,
the issue,
But Tommy, you get
Um,
more friends than lawmaker friends, than tell them that's your friend.
most of them have joined the ruling party. You see,
you telling me the
most of them
opposition.
have joined the ruling party.
How you know they joined the ruling party? So you tell me all the Unity Party people joined the ruling party? They are part of the ruling party.
Who you got Unity Party that were there?
So no
You don't-
Unity Party people there.
Call some of them name because the
So
most
no,
of them
I'm asking you now, Tomalin.
I'm telling you.
Tomalin, you
Yeah.
telling me the Unity Party people that there, they no more. They value Chairman, so those people are ruling party now.
Kev, most of them have joined the ruling party.
Join in what sense?
Oh, they first of all, they vote along with the ruling party. Number one. Number two, they have someone have even cross carpet and join.
So you telling me they vote along with the ruling
That's why they're not even member of the party.
You telling me they vote along with
The
the ruling party?
Morris, the two-man TJ, they're not member of the party. They're doing their own thing over there. As example, they're doing a
Those
post-op
people are opposition people, and you telling me
They voted them into office through the party supporting them. There is nothing show that the party, nothing show on record that the party come out clear that these people now with us. They are part of the party and they will be campaigning for Joe Buckeye. And you tell me?
There were 3 senators that voted against the budget. That was Jonathan Sogby, Yomli Kanga Lawrence, and Darius Dillon. They voted against the budget. When it came to the road fund, I think Dillon voted against the road fund issue. Most of the people you calling opposition lawmakers, they're not, I think one time the UP guy came here and he said they're not members of the party anymore. It's the likes of Maurice Setuma, likes of Vani Sherman, talk about TIJ. These guys are not opposition people. We know they're not members of opposition camp.
So you're telling me those Vani Sherman and other endorse the president?
They're not members of the
they endorse the president? We say they endorse the president?
We're talking about voting, right? Yeah,
no. So okay, my question to you: are they opposition or they are ruling party?
They are. I think we call them regime. They support the regime.
They support the regime.
Yeah,
no evidence show that they support the regime. No evidence. No evidence shows that.
But you
I see the record, the voting record. I see it.
Yeah.
So if they vote, because you know why they're voting? Because they feel that they're doing their people job. So they look at the budget and they feel that the budget is okay, so they put a signature to it.
You know, I think all in all,
they ain't tired nobody.
They have not represented. If they are from the opposition, they have not really demonstrated that they are opposition. So anyone will agree that they will support the ruling party because their voting record proves that they are not really from the opposition. They are just there by the name, but they are not really voting when it comes to that.
Exactly.
So you have 3 Senator Dillon, Senator Sogbe, and somebody else who voted Yomli. They voted against that budget. You know, but the rest of the opposition, you know, but
let me say this.
Let's get back to the
some of them voted. Some of them,
let's talk about the ambassador statement.
You're talking about Dillon. You're talking about Dillon. The ambassador is Jonathan Segre voted, but they voted against, right? But they still received the 30,000. They need to reject it. If they don't want it, they need to reject it. But they still receive the money. They still receive the money.
No, not in the last 2 budget.
They still receive the money. What are the last 3 budget, 10 budget? They still receive the money.
What money is it, Kev? What money did they receive?
I said, in the past, they talk about against the budget and they still collect the 30,000.
But they are on record. They are on record for not voting for that budget.
Yeah, but if you don't vote, because you're against the budget, so don't take a dime from that budget.
Well, we don't have proof.
No, stop. Don't take a dime from that budget. Don't take a dime. But we shouldn't do this. When we saw the West Virginia senator here were going against budget here, we saw it on national TV. They refused to take anything from their state. They refuse. So if you vote against budget, don't take a dime.
Okay,
don't take a dime. But they're lining up behind Joe Buckeye, and they signing the budget. Don't they come out and say, look at it.
With just 5 months.
So instead of Dillon coming on Facebook and clapping for the ambassador, why was Dillon oversight power to say, hey, let me see. Let me go around. Let me go to the counties. You want that ambassador should go to the county and say something, then you start clapping? What a shame.
They don't on record. They don't have demanded budget performance report for transparency and accountability. They don't have also talked about the real issue about the domestic debt payments. He have raised issues about.
Tommy, you're not saying all those things. So he's sending you those things for you to read it on air. But that's not accountable. Why Dillon? Why Dillon was not in your county, Magibi? that shot that he can go there and 30 minutes, 45 minutes and come back and check one of the clinic. You say you went there. Dealer, why Dylan go there?
But
Dylan will come and just talk. Why ain't go there?
Everything the ambassador is saying
If you wait until the ambassador reviews and you want to talk, you are a hypocrite.
I saw it firsthand.
If you do have oversight power and you only talking because the ambassador spoke, then you are a hypocrite. You should go there yourself.
They don't raise this issue. They don't have been raising the issue. Is that strange?
What issue? Have you seen Dylan in any clinic around and say, my people, camera, you can't see this, not here?
Oh. Okay.
That's what oversight power means. Go there.
Okay. Yeah, yes, it. All in all.
When you wait until the ambassador, go to all the 15 countries, the ambassador talk out, you can't talk.
Yeah. All in all, with 5 months to election, if somebody issued a statement on this government like that, it's bad for the government. Let's be realistic. Except some emergency action is taken, it's bad. Jackie.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the technical difficulties, but we have to remember, Keff, yes, I think the Liberian people need to be taken seriously. And I hope that the Liberian people, as they register to vote, that they will look at their lives over the last 6 years. If their lives are not better off, then they know what to do. If they feel their lives are better off than the prior administration, they also know what to do. But here's the thing, the reports that are coming out, there was a recent report that even talked about countries that are very hungry. We just had the spring meeting. We don't even know the status of that spring meeting. The spring meeting focuses on reducing poverty reduction strategy, and it also focuses on the economy at large. We have not even heard anything from it. Has the Minister of Finance come on? Please invite him to the closing argument. Let him talk about the spring meeting. Let him talk about the budget. Let him talk about the harmonization. I mean, like I said, with 5 months to go to election, the government has 6 years to do what they needed to do. And I'm not sure what they can do, what improvement they can make to convince those people who feel their lives were not better off over the past 6 years. I don't know what this retreat will accomplish. You have civil servants right now who are not even getting paid, who have not gotten paid for months. You have the transport ministry. You have other civil servants, workers who are threatening to go on protest. You know, you got a lot of things going on in the economy right now. They're very, very small, the micro of the micro market. You have businesses that have disappeared over the past 5 years. People can't even run their businesses anymore because there's no buyer. You have the marketers today who do not have enough buyers on a daily basis. Their food getting rotten. So when you look at the economy as a whole, you know, the citizens are complaining. So what can this government do within the last 5 months to change the minds of the Liberian people? I think that's the question that this government needs to address.
It's a serious problem, and I can tell you for a fact.
So
it's good that we're on the ground, and I'll be honest with you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud. We hear you loud and clear. You can hear me, right? You guys hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Jackie.
Okay.
Jackie.
So, I mean, it's good to be on the ground.
Okay, yeah,
for
you
me,
clearly.
every opportunity I get on the ground, I ask people. I say, have you registered to vote? When they say yes, so now I ask them, who you voting for? They say my vote is my secret. But then, I mean, and then when you start to hear such a thing, think twice. But I can tell you one thing. The Liberian people are resolved to go to the polls. They are resolved to register to vote in numbers. They register to vote. I was in Banga. I passed through Banga. I was in Nima over the weekend. People are going to the polls to register to vote. They are serious. And I'm telling you, the hardship in this country is, you just cannot describe it. People are going through tough time. There's no joke about that. They are not taking pay for 3 months. They are complaining. There's no joke about that. Okay, that's what I'm saying. The cabinet retreat in Basel, I don't know what it's all about, but it's it's money being spent for that retreat. It's not a joke. Whenever the president travel with the cabinet, there's a lot of money involved. We all know that. So we shouldn't just downplay it. And I think they should come to Monrovia, get back to job work, and do the people business, because it is serious. People are going through tough
Hundreds
times.
and thousands of dollars.
Yes. So what are you doing retreat for? 3 days retreat for what? I mean, come to Monrovia and do the people's job instead of wasting time on cabinet retreat, because the people need the people. Okay, our guest is here. So let's Jackie. The show is over to you. Jackie, you muted.
Okay, position, Keff, is very important.
Yeah, well, guess is
I'm not muted. Am I?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, Jackie, you got to show the guest.
Now.
Yes, so go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I'm not muted on my end.
We
Can you hear me?
Jackie?
Can you hear me?
We hear you, Jackie.
Okay, but the guest, I don't see. He's trying to come up. Okay. Mr. Rodney Sieh, hi, and welcome to the closing argument. How are you today?
Good evening. Good to be here.
Can you guys hear me?
We hear both of you guys.
Okay.
I think Jackie needs to go out.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
We hear you, Jackie. Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome to the closing argument, Mr. Rodney Sieh.
Yeah, good evening. It's good to be here.
But Keff is saying I should go out and come in.
Yeah, because you have your delay. So
should I go out?
Yeah, somebody can take over. Yeah.
Should I go out, or can you hear me?
We're hearing you, Jackie. So go ahead.
She having a serious delay.
But then longer and come back in.
Yeah, she having a serious.
Okay. In the meantime, so let's go on. We want to welcome our guest, the award-winning international investigative journalist Rodney Sieh, the real Rodney Sieh. We're happy to have you on our show. And Rodney, congratulations on your book, the unofficial biography of President Weah, Africa footballer president. And what's the guest? Oh, yeah. I attended your book launch in Washington, D.C. And unfortunately, I couldn't attend it this weekend in Monrovia, but I heard from my friend Peabody was well attended, and a lot of people told me about, they gave me positive feedback. It was well attended, and a lot of positive feedback coming from your book launch. But again, congratulations, and Rodney, welcome, and you can give your opening statement, and just so we can just go straight into the program with you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Tomalin. I'm very overwhelmed by the support I received from Liberia, from London, from Washington, D.C., the United States, regarding this book. A lot of people initially had different interpretations before reading the book, and I'm glad that people who read the book are beginning to see that the direction that the book goes in, and I'm very proud of it.
Okay, guys, you all know Rodney. He's no stranger to us. And maybe you guys have intro before we start questioning Rodney. You can give your intro to Rodney appearance, then we can go straight into questions. So, Peabody, we'll start with you.
Well, Rodney, it's great to see you. Sorry I couldn't make it to your launching in DC, but I did get a copy. And I also followed the show on Saturday. I watched it live, and it was beautiful. I really enjoyed every moment of it. It was really beautiful, and I must congratulate you for your book. I think it was a great job, and I started reading it and just can't stop. Great writing, great writing. So thank you so much. Congratulations.
Kev?
Thanks.
Well, Rodney, welcome to the closing argument. I do have my reservation on the book. Um, I I still do have more questions to ask on the book, but some folks says some good thing in there, and I don't know, but I do have my reservation on some of the thing, but I will ask you more question on it.
Okay, Mr. Sieh, again, it was good to have you. People asking the question, uh, why this time, this book, especially in an election year where President we are seeking re-election, and many people are asking why this year. Uh, what do you have to say to to those who are asking these questions? Why you wrote this book at this time of the year? For me, I know that you started this book years ago. So, but just for the benefit of the public, can you just tell us why at this time you launched your book this year, in election year?
Well, I think the question should be why not? Because during the former government of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, there were two books written about her, one by herself and other by Helen Cooper, called Madam President. I think we live in a society where people have to understand that public figures like presidents, ministers in government are all, once you enter politics, um, you have no rights to your life, and people have to dig and interview about you and be able to write a book without being um, careful about what they're going to write about. So I think I managed to do all of that in the beginning stages of the book. Cross my T's and dot my I's and made sure that I cover every aspect of the subject matter. And I think in the end, what you see now in the book is something that's was thoroughly planned, was thoroughly put together, well researched, well documented, well sourced. And I think it's something that Liberians should be able to read and dissect and offer their opinions about it. I mean, we live in a world where people are free to express their views and give inputs on things that they feel strongly about. So I think everyone should be willing to do all of these things without being fearful of what they're doing.
Well, my next question before I go to the rest guys, I started reading the book, and I was on the plane coming to Liberia, and I was reading the book. But your book, it tells, if you look at the book in its entirety, it shows that you did a lot of homework. You researched well, and you didn't rely on third party. There are people you quoted. There are people who are living today, alive today, who you quoted. So, what were some of the challenges you faced with engaging these people? Because, I mean, is especially a sitting president in Africa, in Liberia, and people that are in the country too, some in the government, writing about sitting president is something that some people were not there, but people call you brave and someone who is fearless. But what some of the challenges you face in writing this book and engaging these people that you interview? Because your book, you have people that are part of the government today and out of the government that we interview. What were some of the challenges you face, and just can you just share with us?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. One of the things I was keen to do in this book is that to make sure that the people who I spoke to were credible people. There were people who understood the subject of the story. They understood who this subject was and is, and their dealings with him in the past, in the present. All of those things were important for me. I wanted to tell a story that people will relate to. I wanted a story that people will be able to say, well, this is well researched. I did the interviews with people that knew him. And so I really wanted something that was going to stand the test of time. And I think in the process, the challenging part was that to getting people who wanted to talk. Some people were very reluctant. They were afraid because in Liberia, no one wants to talk about the president to the media or in the press, and so everybody's kind of like afraid of saying things that they want to say. So I was lucky to get people who were really wanted to talk about it, and in doing so, a lot of things were revealed. For example, Musa Kamara, who was one of those we featured in chapter 9, I think, The House on Fire. He was someone who had a stroke when I met him. He was the only eyewitness to the burning of the house on 9th Street. And he was able to tell me a lot of things before he died. And people say, why now? Why not now? If someone like that had died without sharing some of the information in that story, that information would have died. We've seen a lot of stories about Liberia. It's still drowning gossips and hearsays because no one was able to document these things. And in documenting these things, I think it's important for our history and our culture.
Thank you. Peabody, your 2 questions.
Yeah, Rodney, in one of the book, I just actually started reading, so I just been skimming through. You talk about, I think it was in page 133. You talk about bad timing. You talk about when we made millions and he bought a couple of investments that went wrong. You talk about his relationship with Jim Bestman, who was a drug dealer at the time and was arrested and sent to jail. How did this affect George Weah Well? Because in one part of the book you talk about what he was actually worth, I think 8 million to 10 million during the time he was playing soccer, I compared to the time he became president of Liberia. So, because we know that story that he was worth $80 million. Did you think the president really was worth that amount when 8 to 10 million, or he was worth 80 million after playing soccer?
Well, I work with some FIFA investigative journalists on this chapter, and able to document a lot of stuff that happened during that time. And most of the income of the players that were playing during that time were not that much money. Today, the likes of Didier Drogba, Toure, and them, they make like 10, maybe 15 times what George Weah made when he was playing football. So it was a situation where we document his contract when he first went to Monaco, from there to Paris Saint-Germain, and then to AC Milan in Italy. So during those 3 teams, the major teams he played for, there were not major contracts signed between 8 to 10 million. That's the number that came up in the research of this book. And the 80 million, I think, was made. I didn't think he made that much money playing football, from what we found out from the investigation.
So do you think that amount, it was inflicted? Because you also talk about what do you think was the president's wealth prior to him becoming president?
I don't know where that number came from. I don't know, because it just doesn't add up. A lot of time, like even Maradona, when he played football, he wasn't, he didn't make that much money compared to the players that are playing today. And you see a lot of contracts being signed these days in 80 million, 90 million, 100 million. Ronaldo and Messi and Mbappe, they're making a lot of more money than what was made back in the day. So it's just almost impossible for George Weah to make that money during his playing days. And there's documentation due to his association with James Bestman that showed that he was actually being helped by James Bestman during the process, as the book was able to exercise.
Okay. Thank you.
Before we go to Kev, we're talking about Rodney Sieh. We have his book, the unofficial biography, George Weah, the story of Africa's footballer president. He launched his book in London and also Washington D.C. He this gone Saturday he launched it in his native Liberia. So this is what we're talking about today, and the book George Weah. So Kev, go ahead with your questions.
Yeah, Rodney, you wrote a lot of stuff in that book. A lot of people saying you said some things questioning the president income at that time, and then uh, you got some of your information from you said trusted source, but you have everything in there. But it's one thing that you miss in that book. Just one thing that you miss in that book is George Weah. You got everything. That's what you miss. George Weah. George Weah is not in that book. I don't know if you. I believe you understand what I'm saying. Why so? Rodney, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's breaking up. You're breaking up.
But you can hear me now.
Yeah, not too clear, but it's breaking up.
Yeah, but you can hear me now. Uh, you say I'm breaking up. Internet problem.
Yeah.
Jackie, change your location. I think you're having an internet problem too.
Y'all can hear me clearly now?
We hear
Yeah,
you loud and clear.
better now. Better.
Okay.
But there was. I hope Ron will come back. But there's a part of the book, right, in chapter 21 with Reginald Goodrich, and recently he sued the president. The president met him at I think at the signing ceremony of the political parties with the stakeholders, and apparently the president approached him about his car. I mean his house, either his car or something about his car, and I think he took the president to court. I would like to Ronnie to give us his thoughts
Yeah,
about
but
that.
I need to I need to answer that
Is that in
question.
the book? That is in
Huh?
the book.
Yeah, in chapter 21.
Oh, okay.
They call it
Yeah,
Goodrich Fallout.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I need to answer that question because everything is in that book, but what missing in that book is George Weah.
Yeah, but Kev,
Yeah.
he asked the president that he wanted to interview him, and the president refused.
That's what I'm saying. Everything in the book, but
So,
only
but
everything he got. Everything he got. He got uh, uh, information from secondary source. He got
no,
this, but there's nothing in there. There's nothing in there that say George Weah.
but that's why he said the unofficial biography.
Yes, but he can say it. But I'm just asking why George Weah is not in the book.
Because George Weah refused to be interviewed.
But Kev, when you say he's not in the book, what does that mean? I mean, explain that for the Liberian people, the viewers. What does that mean? Because when you write a biography about somebody, it is about that person, whether it's authorized or unauthorized. So how come he's not?
Well, okay, well, good question. What am I saying here? When I listen to Bob Woodward book from all the presidents that he wrote about, they're in the book. Sometimes he do have their voice. He play he record them, the official everything. You can read a quote from them directly. They are in the book. So if you write about a president, unofficial, unauthorized, because I call it unauthorized book. If you write an authorized book, you missing the bigger picture. You're missing the big guy. You're missing the president. The president is not in the book. So how can somebody who reading the book and say this? It's true. because the president is not in the book.
Okay, I'm still confused. Tomalin, you have a copy of the book. Please explain.
Yeah, but
There's nothing in the book. There's nothing in the book that says
but
the
the book,
president.
right?
There's nothing in the book that says the president. So the president is not in the book.
So, Kev, here's the thing now. Rodney interviewed people that work in the president government in his inner cycle, people that knew the president from his childhood to his adult life, his professional life. Interview them, people that he played with him in the cycle page.
Still doesn't make it.
So that
It's not a first-hand information.
Yeah,
it's
but
still not.
Yeah, the person was given opportunity to contribute to be interviewed. He refused. So the guy had to carry the work on. He's a celebrity. The president is a national figure. He's a president of our country, and I mean he'll be written about.
You can write about him, but still it doesn't make it if your book is factual.
So, but let the president come and dispute what is saying in his book. Then he come and say, well, what the people are saying in this book is not true.
No, Rodney wrote his book. And who choose to believe, it's up to them. But when the president read it, the president book will be out. But at this moment, if the president will want to challenge everything that happened around the world,
the people that quoted in this book, they are still alive. So they are alive. So it's not like Rodney just took. Just imagine
if the people stay alive, it doesn't mean the book is factual. It doesn't mean that way. No.
Only when the president partake, then it's factual.
Yeah,
because that's his story.
Huh?
That's his story.
Oh, his story is open. His story is open.
His story.
He's from a humble beginning.
Dr. Peabody, I can write a story about you. It doesn't mean it's factual.
Kev, George
story.
George Weah's story is open to everybody from a humble beginning. He came from the of Gibraltar, and he rose to stardom.
Yeah, but listen,
it's all in the book.
Listen,
they're good, they're bad, they're ugly, everything in this book.
Listen, my brother. This book is unauthorized book. If the president is not in this book, then why somebody will say, look, I believe what the president is not in the book.
But the president was given an opportunity to contribute to his book. And he said
no.
So
the president will write his story when the president when the president ready. But this is an authorized book. So if you choose
it doesn't mean that the story are not.
If you choose to believe what somebody say, what Mayango Jala say, what other person say, it's okay. But
Musa Thomas stay alive, Malu alive, Akawa's alive, or all the people stay alive. Just Solo stay alive. All the people, Talisa, they're all in the book. So the president have yet to say, well, what he's saying is not true. And I said the book is not bad. It talks about the president humble beginning. All his accomplishments.
Listen, I'm not saying whether the book is bad or good. I'm saying it's an authorized book. And then the president not ready to for somebody to write this book. So if you choose to believe, it's up to you. If you choose
to read a book, the president write on a book. When write on a book, then
if the president write his own story, I believe the president's story because that is own story. I believe the president's story.
Because something is unauthorized doesn't mean it's not true.
Yeah.
Just so you know. We're trying to get out
Jackie, the president is not in the book.
Yeah, but the book is about him. It's about his things that happened throughout his career, his public career, and it's out there. I mean, there's so many articles out there on the president, from stardom to now as a president. There's so many articles out there.
So,
live videos. There are a lot of things out there.
I can take over the show. Ronnie is back.
Welcome again, Mr. Sieh. I was off. Sorry, I had technical difficulty. I'm not sure what you are discussing. So, Tomalin, can you pick up from where you left off for 5 minutes, and then I can.
And then Kev asked a question. Kev, you go with your question again, and then Rodney can take it from there.
Yeah, Rodney, what I was saying, and you got a lot of people in the book. You spoke to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Secondhand information,
Mm-hmm.
people get. But
Mm-hmm.
what missing in that book for me is George Weah. George Weah is not in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Why so?
I already told you. I've asked him to speak about the things that other people were saying about him. He refused. So it's not my fault. He had the opportunity. He was given a lot of opportunities multiple times to him, himself, and his people around him, and he refused. So as a journalist, as a writer, the best you can do is ask someone for their, for their take on what's going on. Um, it's not my prerogative if he decides not to. He had opportunity, he had the time, he had, and he said he wasn't interested. So I don't think the question that keeps asking people like why he's not involved. I don't need his permission. I don't need his input or the courtesy. I asked him. He said no, so he won't be part of it. So it is what it is. And I think the people I interviewed, the people I spoke to, are people who were around him for years. They played together. Some of them worked with him for years. So um, they're not like saying yes say or they say. They say on the record, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted this book to be factual, not what people were making up. If you look at the back of the book, I'm sure Tomalin, you've seen it. There's sources cited, there's documentations, there things that that people know about. So it's not like I'm just writing about the president and just saying things that are not true. Everything that's in the book is well documented. So that's what I can say about that point.
Yeah, but Rodney, because writing about the president is a lot of misleading story out there. A lot of folks who will come out
You
and
see, the problem with that notion you have, Kev, is that you're trying to suggest that the people we interviewed, like Winston Tubman, for example, who was on the campaign trail with the president when he was running, when he was the vice presidential candidate. Um, do you want to say that Winston Tubman lied on the president? James Deba, who played with him for years in teams, they have falling out, falling ends. Jonathan Borchai, Sugby, Joel Howard Taylor, all those people I spoke to in this book. Lewis Creighton, Jeremy Verdier, James Verdier, all of these people are people that we talked to on the record. We did not say,
but let me hold you there.
we're
Let
not.
me hold you there.
No, I'm
Rodney.
not. I'm not. Because the point you try to make is that because the president didn't speak, that means the book is flawed. It is not. Okay. There have been a lot of books written by Trump, about Clinton's, about Obama, that they were not part of, but people interview people about them. This is the president of a country. And if he's asked by a journalist, a leading journalist in the country about a project and he refuses to do it, when the project comes out, you cannot blame the journalist for not, including him in the book. That's not my problem.
Okay, let me hold you right there. You let me call two names. You call Borchaz, you call Jerome Verdier. And Jerome Verdier on record lying about the president. He's on record lying. That number one. Number two, Jonathan Sigrid, I heard him several times that he and the president they have 9 speaking time. But I was there, and you know who else were there? Tomalin. When the president called Borchaz, they said, "Hey, my man, you can't join us. Let's have lunch together." I was standing there. Tomalin George were there. As a matter of fact, Tomalin and Borchaz were talking when Edwin Snow came in and said, "Oh, you guys, the president." The president said, "I was standing up by the president." The president said, "What a man! Call the man like I eat man." That was Jonathan Sigrid, and they came and they had good luck. But
So
But
so what
Jensen
does
said
what
on
that
record
what
saying
that got to
that the
do?
president don't speak to me. So how can I take Borchas and Joan Verder, who are on record not saying the truth, and believe them? It's after two of your sources in that book there.
Listen, Kev. The fact that they don't speak doesn't mean that they never played together. They never had a history. The president and his people have not denied to you, they have not denied to anybody that the president contacted Jonathan Sugby when he was running for president. The quotes is in the book. So you cannot say because you were sitting somewhere and Borja said, "Oh, the man will speak to me," it means that what he said in the book is not true. That's not how it works. And the president, as I said, had all the opportunity in the world to address these issues. The reason I wanted him to be involved because I wanted him to address some of the things that these people were saying, and he refused to talk about it. So you cannot blame me now, the year after the fact, that this is not that. I think that question is belated. Kev, I'm sorry, it's belated.
Okay, can we move on now? Dr. Peabody, have you asked your question?
Everybody has a question. So Jackie, it's you now. You take over now. You start from there.
Okay, I'm not sure what was asked and what wasn't asked. So Mr. Sieh, thank you so much for the book. I know in the book, just from the summary, unfortunately, I don't have a copy. I haven't had the opportunity to get a copy, but I know you did talk about the rise of him as a footballer and now transitioning to the president and the challenges he's faced over the past 5 years as a president. For a lot of people who were excited about a footballer presidency in Liberia, where this is not just an ordinary footballer, but a footballer who rose to stardom and was able to achieve certain distinguished records that I believe I stand to be corrected that have not been broken today, because in a single year, he's having internet issues again. All right, so we keep having internet problems with our guest today. So when he comes on, I'll go ahead and ask him. Okay, Mr. Sieh, I'll repeat the question that I was asking because you went out. Your book, of course, talks about a footballer transitioning to a president and some of the challenges that he faced as a president. My question to you is, well, first, let me say, when George Weah, the footballer, he had a distinguished record, which a lot of people were excited about him becoming president. Nobody has met, and I stand to be corrected today, that football record that he has today, because in a single year, he was able to become the world best, European best, and Africa's best. It was from that backdrop that a lot of people said, well, if he was the best, he will be able to give his best as president. And that's why so many people, the young people particularly, were excited about his presidency. So in your book, what can viewers take, the readers take from that, him transitioning from a president with such a record that still has not been beaten today? Again, I stand to be corrected because I'm not into football that much. So him being as a president, how come that talent? Because to be the best, you got to have some skills. You got to be strategic. There has to be something unique about you and your vision. How come that has not transitioned onto his presidency? And what can the viewers take from your book in terms of that? Is he still? Can he hear me?
I think he's frozen.
Oh,
I hear internet is very bad tonight in Liberia, but too many have internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tomalin must be at a good spot.
No, to where I'm staying, also.
He must be at a very good spot.
Yeah, but the issue with the book, like, there's the president can write his own autobiography in the future. Maybe when he leaves office, we'll look forward to that. But for now, this book is in history. It's in the history books, in the annals of history. people will research this book. And like Rodney said, those who are quoted in this book, most of them are still alive. And if the president disagree with them, he can rebut them. He can come out to rebut them. But for now, the book is on the shelf in the market. People are buying it. So we say we inside, we move. But Jackie, while waiting for Rodney, we can talk about the VP pick maybe. We're almost out of time. We'll go to the lines or all. I don't know. So maybe you can chime in with that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
they are saying the internet's so bad in town that even the
can,
radio station went
can,
off.
can he call in? Is it possible for us to just have him call in or call him?
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Tomalin?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him. But in the meantime, we can talk about the training issues. The 72 hours. We're looking forward to the VP pick. That's one of the things that all over the place today.
Yeah.
Everyone.
How many days now? Four. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and D-Day is on.
And as God, we have. I mean, a good thing. I met all the VP picks. All those who are. I met them.
And what are they? What are they saying?
And like when I met Senator Lawrence, Senator Lawrence, she said that only Vice President Bogart knows who in the envelope. You know, Senator Kuhn said the Vice President will be making his pick on the 28th, and he look forward to. He feel confident that he might be the chosen one. So and Costa too. Costa said he's confident that he will be the chosen one. And only Senator Lawrence said that it's left with the former vice president to make that call, and that she's looking forward to hearing from him. But she just said that he promised to consult them before he make his final choice. So we'll see what happens. But I know there are a lot of meetings going on tomorrow night and so forth. He meets with them in the next few hours or so. So we'll see what happens. But at least the country is still on pause. Everyone's watching the rehab road where he lives, and they're keeping their eyes on
traffic on that road.
The heavy traffic there. I see a lot of cars there, and even at the cabinet retreat, people are still like this, trying to listen what happening. The cabinet retreat going on, but everybody concerned about. But it's serious because take it or leave it. I'll be honest with you. Right now, throughout the country, talk about the vice president. He's a leader, opposition leader in the country right now. I mean, it's a fact. Is everybody you talk to, you talk to about 5 person on the streets, and you'll hear his name among the names. You know, there was a poll done this morning. I think he took 36, 38, and the president took 18. I think Cummings came with 2, and that's been what we're hearing, we've been seeing going on. You know, like as you travel along the streets in the various villages and cities, and it's all about the race, the election, and people are concerned about this pick because it's very crucial for this election. Most people believe that whoever Vice President Bogart will select as his running mate, you see them as a potential future president, maybe after his first term, or if he win the election now, maybe the person may not run, but like he said, he won't run for 2 terms. That person is seen as a potential future president, or so forth, and they believe that it's crucial to the ruling party putting on a re-election fight. And with this, especially what's happening now, with this American ambassadors or scathing indictment of the legislature, especially because he mostly attacked the legislature, also part of the executive, the ministries of mostly internal affairs and health, and it looked like it's somehow looking bleak. So until the government can put up a real fight to justify why this should be re-elected, I see this election will be a tough battle because Cummings will be announcing his going to pick Taiwan Gonglo or Clarence Moneyba. We look forward to all of these people who are running, and let's see what happens. Anything will change. Right now, this election is not about saying the person will win. No, right now it's anybody's guess.
Wow. Yeah.
Let me ask you the question: is any of the candidates for VP
Who?
Some of the candidates for VP. Are they part of this? Have they are part of this legislature that the U.S. ambassador is talking about?
Oh yeah,
So,
all of them
so,
who are all all those who that have been talking about being the potential VP pick, the part of the legislature, and they'll have to defend their record. And once
definitely.
if they choose anyone that the vice president will pick, the person will be scrutinized, and they have to face like I know Senator Kunsa, if he's the chosen one, he will come. He'll take the airwaves next week. If he's the one who is selected, he will come to all the shows. He said he will for ask all the questions. And I know I'm the same with Yombly. I know Costa too. They all that who are in the mix. They are saying that they will come forward to defend the record, defend their choice, and so we look forward to it. But I can tell you this though, in the next by Friday, there will be heartbreaks. There will be anything will happen. Will the vice president pick divide opposition more? We don't know. Will the vice president pick divide his camp? We don't know. How will he handle it? Because up to now, all the possible candidates are nominees for, thoughts about VP, they are all confident that they will be the one he's going to call. And so how he handle them and how will they take it, and how would they accept this when he called them? How would they accept it? Would they respond? Would they go to join Moneybar? Would they join Cummings? Would they join what's his name? Gonglo? We don't know. Would they endorse the CDC? We don't know. And everybody's watching and see what will happen. But I can say for a fact that there will be a lot of reactions that will happen, no matter who he selects. There will be reaction from all camp.
Well, I think that he himself, Ambassador Boycott, has established a very strong relationship with all these people who are on his short list. So one can only, hope that even though, because like I always said, only one person can occupy that seat at one time. So that even though he may not pick this person or that other person, it doesn't mean that his relationship with them is going to change. That they all will still stay on board. So I'm pretty confident that they will stay on board with him because there's a relationship that has been there for a while now. And Dr. Peabody, you said it senators, but the 2017 elections, the two people who won, both of them were senators, were in the legislature before becoming president and vice president. So it seems like, in our presidential and VP candidates, we are picking people from the legislature. So,
we didn't have an ambassador now who would come up with a statement like that, like this today. So this will be something that we'll have to defend because the Liberian people will want to know why and why they sat there all this year. What kind of example can some of these senators who have been there, who have been receiving the benefit, what kind of example can they set when it comes to fighting corruption? What premises can they lay when it comes to dealing with corruption when they have deprived the citizen all those years, healthcare and how can they stand there and say they want to defend corruption and fight corruption? That's something that I'm concerned about.
Look, I went to a hospital in Ganta yesterday, and that hospital, I think it was built by Senator Kuhn, I think prior to him becoming a lawmaker, but he turned it over to the government of Liberia now. When I visited that hospital yesterday, I saw a man who was stabbed. He was stabbed by a jealous guy stabbed him for say he was behind his girlfriend or wife. He stabbed him in his chest and in his back. And I saw the guy lying on the bed in the heat and on drips. Man, look, the hospital has been turned over to the Liberian government. It's in the budget though. But to see the kind of a facility that is available to that hospital and so forth, it's just unbearable. It's sad. That's what I'm saying. Whatever all the ambassadors said in his statement about the health institutions, you visit, it's evidence. Go there. You see it for yourself. People are like some people are there, like certain places in Lower Magibi, people are there, 22% staff, but only 7 on payroll. The rest of them are volunteers. And you go, they tell you that there's a lab, you hardly see nothing in the lab. You see this one, it says it's a drug place, nothing there. To the extent where I went to one hospital, this 29-year-old mother had just given a birth to a baby called Sarah. And then I asked her, I said, so how you guys going home? She said, they're going to get on the motorbike. I said, are you kidding me? The nurse said, yes. They said, yes, the ambulance there, it been parked for months, no fuel and no spare part.
Wow.
And then, but yet you still people justifying that you should ride $50,000 vehicle, you ride this kind of cars, and look at the budget. Okay, take for example, the budget that was just passed. The elected officials, the 5 top elected officials, the budget is more than $50 million. The 5 top health institutions, budget is less than $10 million. I mean, you see the disparity? Is that fair? Is this what the ambassador is saying? The ambassador is saying this thing, the money allocated and appropriated is not reaching to the people. Okay?
But yes, my point, Timothy. Why is it that you allocate, you say the hospital in somewhere in Ganta or in Bassa that entitled to $100,000? Let's say even though it's not enough, why is it entitled? But they don't get it. Why? Why? And we know that there were COVID funds. There were millions of dollars collected at that airport. What did that money go? Where did it end up? You know, our healthcare workers are the lowest paid in that country. I've been to JFK about 2 years ago. I donated over 20 barrels of medical supplies to JFK. And I walked through almost everywhere in the hospital, from the laundry room to the kitchen. And I saw how despicable that place was. The patient room. And the doctor who took me said, I want to take you so you can see for yourself. I'm not going to hide anything. One reason our people die, because healthcare is not prioritized. They forget about the healthcare. They forget about it. So we see how bad it is. But to actually have funds designated for those places and they don't get it, that is sad. They're completely sad.
In the last 5 years, the legislature have received, they alone have received $350 million.
All right.
Legislature. $350 million in the last 5 years. The legislature.
The legislature, you have the chair on health when it comes to the health section, health sector. You have the chair on health in the lower house and in the Senate. The question is, are they really monitoring the executive branch, the Ministry of Health, the entire health sector? Are they properly monitoring the health sector? Then you have the anti-graft institutions. You have the IAA that is within the health sector that sits there. What is the IAA doing? Barton Ninswa, when he was alive, he started with the payroll, looking at the ghost names, and called for those ghost names to be taken off the payroll so that workers, Tomalin, you talk about workers, healthcare workers who are serving as volunteers and not getting paid. Now, if you remove the ghost names from on this payroll, what's going to happen is going to make provision, provide space, and allow for those healthcare workers who are actually working to be put on the payroll. But these things are not happening. So you got the GSC report, the IAA reports, you have LACC. What are they doing? When these people come out to try to help the government, they get into trouble. So right now, have you seen any GSC reports lately? That when this last budget was passed, did they ask for the budget performance report? Did they ask for the GSC report for these institutions? Where are the GSC reports? We're not seeing them. The last GSC reports that we know that were published that everybody was talking about were from the previous GSC head, Sadatu Gay, who, peace be to her ashes, is dead now. And even then, when she published those GSC reports, Barton Ninswa, when he was alive, yes, he was friends, with his colleagues and in the different sectors of government, but he also took his job very seriously. He will send his people to these different institutions. He will read those reports. He was very, very hands-on. And he will sit with the head of entities and say, look at these reports. What can you do to address them? These situations, this and this need to be addressed. But right now, he is no longer around. What is going on with the IAA at this point? You don't hear anything much when it comes to the IAA report. The legislators who's supposed to be looking at these reports before they pass the next budget, are they asking for these reports? Nobody's asking for anything. So therefore, it's business as usual. Liberia's problem, and I've been saying it for a very long time, is not money. It was never money, and it will never be money tomorrow. Because Liberia is such a blessed country, from our natural resources to the grants and loans that we get from our international partners. If only we're handling every dollar the way we're supposed to handle it and hold those accountable who are in charge of the finances, Liberia will be far better off today. We will not be running to Ghana, to India, to seek healthcare. And here's my thing. We are so wicked to ourselves that it is amazing. We go in, we are in Liberia every day knowing fully well that we could have a heart attack at any moment, that there could be an automobile accident at any moment. The ambulance service, 911, we even had the emergency hotline for help since Ebola, the 4455. What happened to that call, that number right now? And that number after Ebola, it was really helping the pregnant women. But the call center went down. The guy who was in charge of the infill at the time, Toba Niswa, the call center went down. So let's look at these people, but they will leave the country, go somewhere else, and then there's nothing done with these people. And so the vicious cycle continues. It continues.
But Jackie, yes.
But Jackie, I know you work briefly. I mean, the good thing, I mean, for you can help us here. You work in the early administration and sometimes the real administration, and with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of State. Like the report talking about the Ministry of Health, the force on the Minister of Health, most of what his statement said today. I mean, do you think if you were asked, maybe you can decide on the answer or not, but that the Minister of Health, like I say, I have no confidence in her, and I don't think the president should have confidence in her because I don't think she has done any good job. She's one of those in the cabinet who's just, she shouldn't be there. There are several of them, but some of them just like the confidence is not there. They have not performed to tax, you know. And there's a reason why people are complaining that these very people, if the president is re-elected, from what we see, they will continue in his cabinet, and it's a problem because the president has not done no reshuffle. These people performance, it be questioned by the donor community, they question the performance, questioning them, and just that Minister McGill, Bill Tuaway, and Seaforth and Serena Seaforth, they were just unfortunate that that they were victim, and once they sanctioned them, they had to resign. But I believe that some of these ministers that are serving, like you serve as the Minister of Health, as I was saying, I heard she got clinics, she got hospitals. Is that a conflict of interest, or is it allowed by law? Is it allowed that she can, as Minister of Health, she also have operating clinics and hospitals?
Here's the thing. At the legislature, during her confirmation hearing, those questions came up. The Minister of Education also has. So maybe we should put something in the law, or look at the code of ethics or the law that say if you have in business that falls in line with your nomination, we will automatically disqualify you. The lawmakers ask these questions. When these people are standing in front of them, they ask these questions, yet they confirm these people. They have them confirmed. So that goes back into the lap of the lawmakers. What are they doing? If they feel a conflict of interest, then don't confirm the person. Send the president.
Jackie, what's up with the opposition lawmakers?
What?
Because the ruling party will be there for
all the lawmakers.
Yeah, all the lawmakers. But the funny is, ruling party will always support their government. They will always support the government. Okay, they'll always do. Even in America here, we see Republicans. What is wrong? Republican will still vote. What I'm saying is, the opposition at the time was in the majority. If they're not, they had all power to have stopped some of these things or changed some of these things. They did not. They confirm anybody that go there. Then they all vote. They all form with the government and vote for these people. And the issue here, look, even if corruption is bad, but there should be an exception, especially when it comes to the healthcare of the nation. We are seeing how many Liberians died, and those who can afford, especially to go out of the country, the one that will live right there and die, and they die from some of the most curable diseases in Liberia. You have people who die for a common thing like diarrhea because they can't find the medication, they can't afford to go to JFK. People living out of Monrovia in some of these villages, they fall down, they will die. There's nowhere out. There's nowhere out for them in some of these places that the ambassador was talking about. I know because I traveled to those places. Some of those people would, if you go in those places and you fall down from a heart attack or some kind of headache, you die right there because there is no way out. There's no emergency. And that's why people need to have a conscience to look and say, you know what? At least let's do something for the healthcare system. We saw over $30 million was raised on that Ebola fee that we pay in to go off $75 in $75 out. What happened to all that money? Healthcare worker was still complaining that they didn't get paid.
There's no accountability for
No
that.
accountability. Even with the healthcare, you play with it. That's wrong.
But Dr. Peabody, this stuff falls right on the president's lap. Although Keff doesn't want to hear that. It's the president's job to be hands-on with these institutions, to ask questions. And if he feels, but he has to understand what's really going on. Does he really understand what's going on in every sector of his government? Does he really get it? Does he understand it? When these people are going to him and giving him reports, does he read the reports? Can he comprehend? Does he comprehend? I'm not saying he's not smart. What I'm saying is he taking that interest to say, look, I am going to look at your report today. Under this government, you had maternity rate at its highest, one of the highest in Africa. It went up. Malaria rate also went up, although there are recent reports that it kind of stabilized and came down. Is the president really looking at these things? Is he being told the truth? That's one thing. And is he able to look at the truth versus the untruth or the lies and say, look, what you're telling me here, it does not make sense. And it's because it does not make sense, I'm going to replace you. Is he doing this? He appointed these people. It's up to him to look at their performance and decide whether or not these people are performing and then bring in new people. It's been 6 years. Has he done it? The Liberian people have complained from day one. The healthcare workers to the patients who go into these health facilities, the maternal mortality rate, the infant mortality rate, very, very high. The patients, the citizens are complaining. Is he listening to them?
Well, they're in a retreat now.
And they're not even doing what they're supposed to do. But everything, the president brought these people in.
The thing is, they're at a retreat now.
Is he going? Is he going
5 more months?
From that retreat?
They're at a retreat. There's 5 more months for election, and if you're not taking this serious, there's a report that came up with the ambassador today. If it means nothing, then election will decide. But there's 5 more months election, and if you can't take this is very damning for a government who is recontesting the election. It's very damning.
It's very damning. No joke about that.
If you can't read it, if you can't put the foot down today, some steps should have been taken, some press conference should have been called to safeguard your opportunity for the election. Somebody today should be fired, and it sounds like you take a stand today so that, because election is around the corner, you must do it if you really want to win. But
Dr. Peabody, for 6 years, what has the president done though? Has he gone to his cabinet members and said, look, we are at the end of year 1. You bring the GAC reports. You bring the IAA reports. The IAA is supposed to report directly to the office of the president. That's where the reports go. And to the legislature, has the president read one IAA report and thanked the IAA head and encouraged this anti-graft institution? The president was on, did an interview on one of the radio stations a few months ago and found an excuse and said just because the LACC says this or that person said this, it doesn't mean he should just go around firing people. He said it himself. So how serious is this president when it comes to dealing with corruption and holding his people accountable? This is it right here. We got to hold those in power accountable. Is he doing?
At the end of the day, I got my little stuff. At the end of the day, the Liberian will decide. But I also want to challenge. I want to challenge those presidential candidates. Do not put anybody who have been named in this statement today. Do not make them your vice president because they are not an example to the They are not an example.
Forget about
somebody. Somebody that have not served.
Because right now, with the exception of Costa,
let me ask this question. I listen to you guys. Tomalin, I listen to you guys going. Let me ask this question. I'm hearing Jackie going on rampage, saying president this. Well, your guy JMB and his government. Yeah, tell me who they hold. Who the whole Tomalin, I listen to you guys, so give me a chance now. Let me ask one question. Tell me, Jackie, what record? Tell me, what record do JMB has or ever hold anybody feet to a fire when he was a vice president and he had one of the top job, head of the Senate? Because you're saying all the good things, president this, under JMB regime, did he ever hold anybody feet to a fire? He ever call? He everything? Show me where can I find it? They say, hey, JMB called this person, the Minister of Health, and this is what JMB and the president, they tell me.
Okay, so Kev, let me answer your question. I will reverse that question back to you. You have your vice president. Answer the same question you asked me. Answer it when it comes to your vice president. The vice president in the Constitution, that's not their job to hold people accountable. That's not their job. Yes, they are the president, the vice president is the president of the Senate, but they can only vote to break a tie. That's all they can do. Okay?
You're doing this thing. You're doing this thing to Liberian people.
Yeah, not interrupt me. I did not interrupt you when you were speaking.
You're doing this thing to Liberian people. Not fair.
Interrupt me, Kev. Don't interrupt me.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to answer your question. You're trying to distort my thoughts because when you interrupt me, then my thoughts may go away. I know you're doing it deliberately. But to answer your question, I wish you will answer your own question when it comes to your VP who has served for 6 years. Lastly, let me say this. The vice president has never been a president. So how can you hold him accountable for holding other people accountable? He has never held that position. It is not the job of a vice president to hold people accountable. It's the president. That's why he's elected. So we are talking about the president. You didn't hear me talk about your VP. I never mentioned her name. There's a reason why. Her job is to assist the president and any task the president gave her to do. Your vice president, that's what she does. And if she is there in the Senate as president of the Senate, she's there to break the tie if there's a tie. So what are you talking about? The question you asked is not relevant because JNB has never ever been president. That's why he wants to be president. And should he win the election come in October, starting next year, that question you can come back and ask me and say, what has JMB done as president now, as the new president, to hold his cabinet people accountable? Then I will answer you then.
You see, wait, Dr. Peabody, give me a chance now. Listen to you guys. So give me one chance. Because you guys, what are you guys doing to Liberian people?
Answer your question now. You didn't answer it. What has your VP done to hold anybody accountable? Answer it.
Yeah, you say I shouldn't interrupt you, right? So let's do the same for me.
No, but you did not. I asked you at the end for you to
So
answer that question.
yeah, but I will. You ask a question, I choose the way I will answer it.
I'm moderating the show right here, so I
Yes,
got.
but I choose good,
But
good.
you
But
don't
I choose the way I'll
answer
answer
my
it.
question. Can
But
you
let me answer it. Let me say this to you, Jackie.
Okay.
You guys, what you guys doing to the Liberian people to
Well, they go
mislead,
to the phone
to,
line
to
at
mislead,
30.
to mislead the Liberian people is wrong. The reason I'm saying this, you act like the vice president got nothing to do. The only time they would call the vice president just to break tie. Tomalin George, Dr. Peabody, we went and we visited the Senate. We were right there. Who were on the podium? Joe Howard Taylor conducting, and that's what that let me finish, my man. You don't cut me off. Let me finish. Don't let me finish. Joe Howard Taylor. So that thing you're selling to the Liberian people, oh, he got nothing to do. No, he go there. The vice president go there. And secondly, who pushing the agenda in the Senate for the government is the vice president. For every agenda that comes from the executive branch, who pushes it is the vice president. This 66 bogus deal is the vice president. And if the vice, if the vice president, that's what we are a copy with the American government, the structure of the American government. We know the role of a vice president only because they want to just give the papi a pass. The papi itself said he is the last man that leave the room with the president, right? So what happened with the president? Remember, Biden got elected because of the success from Barack. The success. If anything happened that Ellen Johnson failed to do, the vice president carried the same responsibility because both of them, according to our constitution, were elected. The vice president also elected.
Okay.
So, my man, you stop this thing. Let me finish. So, Jackie, if I may, and say because of the internet in Liberia and thing, maybe we may not do a phone line because the radio is down, the internet is bad. And that's what Rodney. So maybe we'll just write it, and then Wednesday we'll open the line. If you agree, I just want to suggest that to you. But we cannot just give. The reason they want to give the vice president a pass because they cannot show anything that this vice president achieved. Nothing. So the vice president sold that thing. I was race car parking. Just parking. But then he said, I was the last man in the room with Ellen Johnson selling. And then they want to ride on the Ellen Johnson selling some of her success. But the bad thing, they don't want it. Oh, the bad thing, the paper pack. No, we're not going to have it that way. He was the president of the Senate. If any deal, anything goes on in the Senate, he can he can choose to talk about it. He can choose to fight it, and he can also choose to tell the president, "Do not sign this into law. Do not sign this into law." That's the vice president role. But he sat there for 12 years with all the money that came into his office. He can't even make a help to push for the road in Lofa. He was there. He had all the money. The same vice president had a group of 77. He still had it. And I can play you a tape with Fagon is shredding the vice president on those things. Shredding the vice president. We'll play it.
Kev,
I was thinking from the U.S. embassy statement to the vice president to boycott. See, right? He's pivoting now to boycott.
This is some
Kev,
pivoting.
the
They
topic-
cannot claim the vice president can the vice president surrogates of Jackie, which is the vice president surrogate, cannot come on and talk about what happening and not claiming responsibility
Kev,
under the 12 years, under the failed 12 years. You cannot take the responsibility. You cannot do that.
okay,
That's misleading. You're
fine.
misleading the people. You
All
know. So you
So we're gonna move on to Dr. Peabody, Kev, because you've been talking for 5 minutes. We hear you, but the
I would say, you know, the opposition people. I don't know why. I don't know why the opposition people they can't. I don't know why they can't stand me, because I sat here for almost 20 minutes without saying a thing. I guess this one thing. Oh, because you know why? I choose to let our people know that you're misleading them. You're telling them vice president are nothing. Vice president are nothing.
Dr. Peabody, please come in.
Well,
Can you add to to what the ambassador said? Kev is pivoting. He's talking about somebody who is not a sitting president. The ambassador specifically talked about this government that has been in power for the past 6 years. I mean,
I think in all fairness, there have been a lot of warning signs. The ambassador have on numerous occasions come up with these statement, warning sign. What would Joseph Jenkins Roberts do? A lot he has come up and said here. I think if there was something that this government was learning from all this warning sign, then someone they would have taken some action by now. But there have not been no action taken. And the ambassador come on a statement 2 or 3 days, all the media will run with it, and then after 2 or 3 days, it'll be a new ball game. Everybody going about the business and stuff today. But I think with 5 months to election, and you are taking part in the election and one of the Liberian people, I think today is the day for you to stand up and make a statement, address it, or take some action immediately, because your opposition will take advantage of this. They will surely take advantage of it. I mean, it's so detailed. It's detailed. I wonder if the opposition said they didn't say these kind of things, but it's so detailed that they can come up and use it against it, especially in those places, those villages. They can go there and tell the people, look at the American man. In fact, they said the white man can't look what he saw, look what he did, and stuff like that. I think some immediate action should have been taken. The government has not taken action, but definitely some cabinet members need to go. The Ministry of Health have failed on many occasions. They have failed. The other day, the U.S., the same embassy accused them and warned them of taking user money. And if we're not going to go use up on the whole, they're responsible. What did they do about it? And the same thing came up today. So there have been the warning signs have been there. But have they done anything? The president, this is a government. You should have some KPI, some key performance indicators that would tell you who's doing the job and who's not doing it, who's working, who's not working, or check and balance in the government, that you'd be able to remove them. But you've seen nothing. People have been convicted, people have been indicted, and they still go about doing their normal business. So, I mean, if I was President Weah with this and I'm recontesting in the election, I will take an immediate action today. Seriously.
thank you, Dr. Peabody. We had a 1 week visit to Rwanda one time, and we met with some of the government officials, and this is what they said. They said annually, when they putting the plans together for the country, from the lowest level in society all the way up to the president, the people in the villages, they go to the people in the villages, they ask them for their plan. What is your vision? What is your goal for your village, your town, your community? Then you have, through the Ministry of Internal Affairs, then you have they work their way up to the different sectors in government. These people, all the cabinet members, they sign a contract with the president based on their annual goals. The president then monitor those goals in Rwanda on a quarterly basis, on an annual basis. Based on the goals you said you're going to accomplish, the president will look at these goals. If you have not accomplished them, if you don't have a good reason as to why these goals have not been accomplished, the president will dismiss you and he will not hesitate to replace you. We need the willpower of the president to do the exact same thing. The $1 million question is, why is it that President Weah does not have the willpower to do the things that he needs to do in the interest of the Liberian people? Yeah, we are in year 6. The people are voting. Are registering to vote. So we'll see what will happen in October. But I think right now with a sitting duck government, all the legislators right now are worried about re-election. The president himself is worried about re-election. There's not much he can do right now to even turn this country around or to even convince the Liberian people that they should re-elect him coming October. Tomalin, over to you.
Yes, look, if with the time the election is getting closer, and if I was seeking re-election in this government, I'll be worried for the fact that there's no secret. People are really going through tough times in this country, and it's not like they're not going tough times on the past government, but they believe that this government have not done much according to their own agenda, the pro-poor agenda for prosperity and development. And people are still like, I was walking, I saw a lady in the market, she was falling asleep. She was sleeping, and then she told me, she said, "Oh, one day y'all will come to America, you're to buy our goods because y'all want souvenir to carry abroad. But we'll stay all day, but nobody get money to kind of buy our goods." And she was just being real, and then one of the things that concerned me I don't want to tell you guys, is over the weekend, people were trucking people to go register to vote, and in the process, an accident occurred. 3 person got killed, including a pregnant woman. And the guy who was carrying these people, he was on one of the local stations in Lima this morning. And you're talking about, it's like he found people that were going to go vote, register to vote. Give me a break. You've seen it. All this is happening now. People just trucking people, carrying them in buses, in pickups, in trucks, carrying them to go register to vote for them. And the thing is that, how sure are you people will vote for you election day? Because the person getting in the voting booth, is their decision. You're not there with them. You say you pay them, but they get it and they say, "Look, I'm not voting for Tomalin. Tomalin only brought me because he want me to vote for him, but I'll vote for Jackie." That could happen. So I don't know why they're trucking people to these voting centers to register to vote. And another thing, the speaker, instead of him, he was going to Maryland over the weekend. He passed by way of Ivory Coast to go to Maryland. Why you couldn't go through the roads?
He passed by Ivory Coast?
He went through Ivory Coast to go to Maryland to register to vote. To go talk to the people. Why you couldn't drive from Oregon to Maryland on the road? Because that's the problem I got. That problem I got with them. They are very sensitive, and until they can realize that they are in a tough re-election, wait until the tickets are all formed. As I will tell you people, Walker announced his pick on Friday. I know Cummings will come out with his. Moneybar will come out with his. Congo will come out with his. And the game will be on. Right now, I think Clarence Moneybar is saying that President Weah should not run. I heard he said he should step out of the race.
For him to not enter the race that he needs.
And then I think Congo said something too. So it's gonna get nasty. It's gonna get tough. People will say things. It will be hard talking, and it'll be the record to defend the record. With the president being on the campaign trail defending his record for the 6 years, they want to see what happened. With Boycott, Cummings, and Moneybar and Gonglo justify why they should be given a 6-year mandate instead of Weah. We'll see what happened. And Peabody said at the end of the day, it boils down to the people. They will make that decision. And I can tell you, the people in Liberia that I talk to, everywhere I go, I talk to them, they will tell you boldly they're not happy and they're waiting for October 10th to go to cast the ballot. So
they everything right now rests with the voters. They know the life they've been living over the past 6 years. I hope that they will make the right decision. You got some of the 3 lawmakers in the lower house that are up for re-election, and then you also have 15 senators who are also up for re-election. What have these senators done? The Liberian voters, they really need civic education and voter education on what their responsibilities are. They too have to understand their power and the power that they have, and they need to understand their rights. And a lot of the people don't understand, so we keep on voting the wrong people into office over and over and over again. And therefore, we see any growth within the country. There's no accountability. And the issue on corruption, if these voters see that these people in office have not been accountable to them, don't re-elect. It's that simple. Bring in somebody else. There's no reason why you should keep re-electing the same type of people. They cannot talk to you. They cannot tell you what they're doing. There's no GSC report. Nobody is being held accountable when these GSC reports and the IAA reports come out. IAA reports should be made public. Where are the IAA reports? Where are the GSC reports? It should be explained to the Liberian people which entity is performing, which entity is not performing. These things should be made available to the public. The president should be able to speak to the Liberian people on a regular basis. He's not doing that. We just had a spring meeting here in DC. What happened to that spring meeting? Why is the budget the way it is? Do the Liberian people really understand what's in that budget? Do they really understand that the speaker increased his budget, that is Senate Pro Tem that budget, the president office increased the budget? Do the Liberian people understand that? The bottom line is, if you find things hard today, do you think you should re-elect this government? Do you think you should re-elect your legislators that are coming back to you and asking for re-election? Do you think you should do that? And if you think the answer is no, for those remaining 9 counties, I urge everybody to go out to register to vote, because if you cannot register to vote, there's no way. If you don't, there's no way you can vote come October 10th. And it's just that simple. Liberian people need to understand their rights and exercise their civic duties. And we need to continue to educate them on what they need to do in the best interest of the country.
And Jackie, I know we got a few more minutes left, but let me just say something. Like, for instance, in the statement today, the U.S. government issued, they said something. We experienced a growth of 3.7%. Okay, and also our revenue generation exceeded expectation. Instead of, I think they expect they are targeted 400 million, but they have gone to 600 million. So then he said the U.S. government have given 60 million, I think, to the health sector in our country, and they even supported our national budget and so forth. So the question is, with all of these things happening, why the money appropriated? That he even made funny. Look at our statement. He made fun about make believe, something about make believe budget or something. He said that the money appropriated for these health centers, they have yet to reach the health center. And this man, he went to all the 15 counties, and he's on the way out. So we should not be surprised if the U.S. government again come and hit us with some group with some biting questions again. Because, and then the only time our government will act, and I will always say this, the president lacks the political will to really take some actions. Like, for instance, during the rest crisis, Minister of Finance, the Minister of Commerce should have been fired. She should have been held accountable for that rest crisis. But she enjoys the president's confidence. Minister of Health, she should be held, but these are the people who continue to enjoy the confidence of the president. As a result, they feel that nothing happened. Okay? Look at the issue about teenage and the rape, children underage rape in this country. I mean, what the Ministry of Gender doing? All these things. And as I was watching briefly before the show started, they came for all the retreat today. They asked them a question, and some of them just bluffing as if they have done something great the last five years. But I can tell them though, the next 160 some more days, the people will take issue with them. The people will go after the record, and the people can hold them accountable. They should be prepared. People will hold them accountable because they have to give an account of what they have done for the last 6 years as ministers and so forth.
Absolutely, and I think we're closing now. And all I will say here is that I bet half of those ministers in there do not have a proper report to present to the president. I can bet. A lot of them don't have a proper report to present because you can see what's going on. But I just hope that the president will take action on that report today. If he really is he contesting running again, he will take action. I expect him to come up with a statement, official press statement on what the ambassador said, because the ambassador has the right to say, you know what, we put our mouth where our money is. So they give us the American taxpayer putting millions of dollars into that country, and it's their responsibility to assure accountability at the time. So I hope they can come up with a statement and take that action. So you know what, this person got to go. Take that action. And of course, the man took action. Maybe the next year, if he win, it'll be perfect. But let me also say, and I repeat, none of the presidential candidates is to people that are part of this report. They will not represent the country.
That is not joking. Who the leading candidates?
I don't know. That's my stick. I'm done.
Yeah. So we're not. Are we able to go to the phone lines at all to take?
No, because the internet is down.
There's no way to get phone calls. Okay, so we'll wrap up no later than 7:00. It's an amazing day, and to our viewers, we want to once again apologize. Our guest had internet issues. There's internet problems going in Liberia right now. Rodney is here. Hopefully, we can get to come back because there were, a lot of questions that we needed to ask him, both about his book and both about, the national issues as a journalist. What are the reports out there regarding Liberia, the economy? What are the voters saying? The performance of this government. There have been performance reports that both locally and from the international community about this government. The latest one being the hungry status, that Liberia today remains one of the hungriest countries in the world, and that translates to be that those saying that Liberia remains one of the poorest countries in the world. And now with poverty, you have hunger. That is really not good for this government. So I hope and pray that the Liberian people will do what they need to do, in terms of registering to vote, because this year is very, very crucial. Having said that, we have 10 minutes to go. It's almost 7:00. Can we do one round of closing and then we'll be done?
Well, I know on Friday, I don't know, Kev, I know you confirmed the guest for Wednesday. Because you said
we'll talk about it and behind the scenes.
Okay. I know Kevin suggesting that we have an all-star panel on Friday. I think it's a good idea. I don't know, but I think I know on Thursday, if I'm still in Liberia, I'll be joining Ben Sanvee and Katamba with on OK FM with Clarence Jackson. We'll be having a discussion about the vice presidential pick of Boycott Cummings and the rest of the candidates. So we're looking forward to that. But on Friday, I know tomorrow is Tuesday, but tomorrow we should get a sense of who will be the vice presidential candidate for Boycott. And I know hopefully by the end of the week, we should know about Cummings and all, and the rest of the people that are running. And we're looking forward to these announcements. And what I can tell you, after what's happening on Friday, they're going to get different. The landscape will change. Whoever is selected, they're going to come with their force. We'll see reactions from the ruling establishment. I'm sure they will respond. They are getting ready. I'm sure they because that's what happened in political arena. Once you're ruling a party, when the opponent come up with their choice, it comes swinging at that ticket right away. Come and show CDC, they are prepared for that. They won't wait. They're already preparing for. If it is Yombly, they're preparing already. If it is Costa, preparing already. If it is Con, preparing already. So whoever they will choose, they say, well, we're just getting ready for them. Whoever they announce, we're gonna go after them. And I'm sure they too will be preparing to counter react. And so, but it will get interesting. And I can tell you the next few days will be tough. And it will get interesting. And we're gonna see whether the opposition will break, whether they will hold together, or whether they will fall apart further. But let's see what happens. We'll see what happens in the next few hours.
Money on there. Who do you think will VP Boyka will pick? Tomalin.
After beating all the candidates, I don't get in trouble. Yeah.
So wait, we have
everybody's saying that they will pick them. They'll pick them. Everybody's saying they'll pick them, but
we have Senator Balu on. All right, I'm not sure what just happened.
Yeah, I think we have the time. So let's
7 more minutes. Yeah.
Okay, we have 7 more minutes, closing at 7.
I'm done with my closing. So.
You done with your closing, Kev? Are you done?
Yeah, basically, I'll just say that for me, I think Jeremiah Kun is the ticket that I want.
It's a ticket that you want. Wow. Is there a reason why?
It's a weak ticket.
Easy.
Okay, because I thought you were going for Costa.
I said Costa because of loyalty Costa, but I wouldn't want Costa to face Costa. That's what I said. I do want Jeremiah. I do want Jeremiah Kun. I think Jeremiah Kun is an easy ticket, but you know what? Friday, let our people come on Friday. The
former political leader for MDR was on CDC case on the CDC government case last week Friday, where he said the president had threatened to fire people from NIMBA and all that stuff. I mean, and the VP had to even respond to some of the things that he said. What the VP went in Bond County and said that, remember, if people want to accept money, let them go ahead and accept it, but don't vote for them. So she had to respond. She responded recently in a statement, right?
But listen now.
So Johnson had a lot of things to say over the weekend.
Ain't you preaching your chest on it?
Yeah, a man who murdered a whole president on national TV.
Oh, so when you saw put that to something, you mentioned that.
Come on.
Well, yes, it though. I mean,
we got less time. We have to go.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it on Wednesday.
Yeah, people gotta go and talk.
Kathy, they want you to talk. I've got 5 more minutes.
No, but what I'm saying is, Frank Johnson shouldn't be any relevant when it comes to our election in this country. Should not be any relevant.
I mean, but there's a country we have Peabody. The man's
we're talking about killings. We're talking about killings. He shouldn't be any relevant.
He put Ellen in power twice. He put Joe in power 2017. He helped them. So
yeah, but when
you nobody will stop you from taking part or supporting who you want to support. But does Rick Johnson do have the moral right to talk about killing? Seriously? Let's go.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah. Thank you, Jackie. Great show. Thank you. See you guys.
All right.
Guys,
with that said, we want to thank our viewers for tuning in today, and we have another fascinating show that's coming out on Wednesday. So tune in to KMTV Live on Wednesday at 4:30 New York time and 8:30 Liberia time. And on Friday, of course, it's the big day where we'll be talking about JNB Peak on Friday. Of course, the world would have known on Friday who he chose. So tune in to the closing argument, KMTV Live on Wednesday Thank you to our many viewers. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to our producers, to Hot FM. Thank you to everybody for supporting the show today.
We will be here on Wednesday again at 4:30 US time, 8:30 Liberian time. Wednesday. So join us again on Wednesday, 4:30 US and 8:30 p.m. Liberian time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you, buddy.
Okay, easy.
You are mute.
Here, it was a situation experienced all across the city. So we want to apologize for not being live on Hot FM, but we had a program on Puma FM live and also on KMTV. So we want to say until Wednesday, for and on behalf of the entire team here at KMTV Liberia. Well, my name is Aisiniba, having yourself a wonderful night from the nation's capital, Monrovia.